Have you ever wondered how to give any scene a cinematic vibe in Unreal Engine? It's not just about lighting, it's about finding the right references, adjusting materials, textures, set design, adding those key elements of dynamism, imperfections, camera angles, film emulsion effects, and so much more. In this 3-part tutorial series, we'll take this cafe scene and transform it into a stunning cinematic masterpiece together in Unreal Engine. I'll guide you through every step, sharing pro tips along the way, and to save your time, I'll timestamp the sections and pro tips down below. For those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Jai Parekh from IndiArt VisualStudios. We specialize in creating high quality cinematics, virtual environments, game assets, and interactive VR art quiz. With that being said, let's jump right in and start creating. Okay, so we'll be using this cafe scene from Unreal Marketplace. I'll include the link down in the description so you can easily follow along. Once you edit the project, click on View in Launcher. It will open up the Unreal Marketplace, locate the project and hit on Create Project. Choose the latest version available. Locate the folder and remove any these type of characters. Hit on Create. Our project is now created, but we need to convert it into Unreal Engine 5.5 to take advantage of new Mega Light feature. So right click on the project, show more options, click on switch Unreal Engine versions, right, select 5.5, hit OK and open up the project. These are some of the missing plugin settings, but it's okay, click on yes. As you can see, the project uses baked lighting. In the world setting also, there are many light maps baked into it. If we go into project settings, under renderings, we can see the global illumination is set to none instead of lumen, and also there are many high quality settings like ray tracing and etc. which are turned off. So here is a pro tip. Instead of manually adjusting these settings and try to correct it, create a new blank Unreal 5.5 project and migrate the entire scene into it. This ensures that all the native high quality settings are enabled by default, reducing the risk of missing out anything. Now let's check some of these settings and maximize it to get maximum quality. So in the reflection capture resolution, change this from 128 to 2048 to get maximum reflection quality. After this, check use hardware ray tracing when available, and also check that you have support hardware ray tracing is turned on. This will be turned on if you have RTX graphics card. If you don't have RTX graphics card, then this setting will be grayed out. So if you have, then turn this two things on. After this, check that in the ray lighting mode, change from surface cache to heat lighting for reflection. This is the new method in Unreal 5.5. After that, click on this high quality translucency reflection. After this, in the support ray tracing mode, change it from global tracing to detail tracing. And in the screen tracing source, change this from scene color to anti-alias scene color with translucency. And in the mega lights, turn this on. Then we'll go into the plugins, check for HDRI, turn this on, and check for movie render queue so that we can render out our video, and click on restart now. Now that our project is set up with all the correct settings and plugins, let's open the cafe level. I would recommend to duplicate the original level. Let's name it Cafe 01 and open it. This keeps the original level as it is while allowing us to freely experiment. Now let's take a closer look at the scene. The scene has very nice details in terms of materials, textures, material variations, assets, etc. So it's a very nice starting point, but we can add more dynamism by maybe if we go with a night scene, then maybe we can add some candles, characters, maybe we can add a wine glass or donut for close-up shots, right? Maybe we can add a TV on this wall with a cafe ad going on, and etc. Before jumping into these changes, it's crucial to spend some time gathering references. References will guide our choices for cafe style, color theme, and overall mood. Look for inspiration in real-world cafe photos and other cinematic scenes. Okay, so after going through a lot of photos, I finalized these ones. I really like the teal and orange look, so we'll select that as our primary color theme. These photos have many similarities with our scene and the changes we want to make. So for example, we can use this type of lamps, candles, we have this type of tiled walls. We can use this as our reference to place our TV and etc. Using references like this means we don't have to guess or rely on trial and error. Instead, we can recreate details from real world settings to make the scene look more realistic and polished. By the way, this one is pure ref application. You can have your references in here and dock it sideways. Okay, so we'll first tackle our materials and textures and then we'll move on to the lighting part. Right, so let's start with the wall. We need to change the wall color to this teal color. So let's find the material. I would advise to duplicate this material so our original content does not get changed. And in here we have albedo color, so we can change our tint from here. Let's select this color, hit OK, and apply this material in here. Right, so we have our teal color. Let's move on to the chair. Again, find the material, duplicate it and open it up. And in here we do have albedo color, but the chair already has a texture map which has its own tint, so we cannot, if we change the tint in the albedo color, it will not give proper result. So instead, let's find this texture and change the tint of this texture map. Right, so let's apply this texture map in here and open it up. To change the tint of the texture, you need to open up the texture map and go into this hue section and change this value. So maybe we change it to 50, 100, 300, 325. Okay, this value is working. Right, so let's save it, close it, and let's apply this material to all our chair object. Let's go into the unlit mode and you see our tint is matching up. Maybe we can lighten up the chair a little. Right, so let's open the texture map again in here. If we increase the brightness value, it will brighten up the chair a little. Right, so something like 1.5 or 1.4. Okay, yeah, this is working. So now let's move on to this tiled wall. Let's find the material, again duplicate it, apply this material here, open it up. Again, this one has a tint texture map, so let's find that texture map. Okay, it is in here. Let's duplicate it, apply this texture map here, open it up, and let's give the same value, 325. Let's go into unlit, and yes, this one is also working. And let's see, we have these paintings and all, but it's already in orange color. Right, we have this pipe, so this is also kind of in our color theme. The only thing I want to change now is this wooden texture, because it is little bit darker right now. So let's open it up. We have one more option here, brighten texture. Let's click it, and yeah, we have the brightness strength. Let's do 1.2. Okay, it is working. Let's try to change it from our texture map as well once. Yes, this one is better, and let's desaturate a little, so you can desaturate it from here as well. Okay, this value is also working. Okay, so now everything is working in terms of material. Let's move on to the lighting part. Before going into lighting, let's delete all the lighting actors from our scene. So let's go in here and delete it. We have some of the reflection capture in here, so let's type reflection, select all and delete it. We have some of the light mask portal and light mask volume, because the scene uses the bake lighting. We have this cube map. Let's delete all these point lights. And now maybe we have some lighting in the light lamp. Okay, so now our scene is pitch black. Now let's add some lighting component. We'll start with post-process volume. Let's type infinite and click this, so it affects the whole scene. I'll set up my exposure. I like to keep it at auto exposure histogram, and let's set the mean and max EV to 1 so that we have constant exposure throughout our scene. Let's add HDRI backdrop. If you don't see the HDRI backdrop in here, please enable it in the plugins folder. Right now the HDRI is not affecting our scene, so because we need to increase this size, let's do 1500. Okay, now it is affecting 3000. Okay, this is good. Let's go into skylight, and we can increase this resolution, cube map resolution, to 2048, right? And let's change the HDRI backdrop. So for the backdrop, I am using these two HDRI backdrop from Poly A1 and 2G Academy. I will add the link down in the description, so download it from there. So to add it on in our project, I will create some folders. First, let's create my stuff. Then I will create 3 more folders called assets. Let's apply this HDRI in here. Let's go out, and right now the HDRI is little distorted, so let's move it little bit down. Select this icon and move it up. Let's go inside and adjust the rotation angle. Okay, this is looking good. Let's change the tint. So you see right now the HDRI tint is not giving us the right results. So for that reason I imported another HDRI, this one. Right, so it has a clear sky and I guess it will look good. We'll only apply this HDRI in our skylight. So let's change this to SLS specified cube map and apply this cube map in here. Let's increase the intensity a little. Let's apply the tint again, and still it's look a little bit blue and not exactly our teal color. So same thing, let's open up the texture map and change the hue value. Okay, so now it is looking perfect. Let's close it. Let's apply the tint again. Now it is perfect, right? It is giving nice color. Let's go outside and let's add one more actor called exponential height fog. I'll change this to, I check this volumetric fog, and let's increase this to 0.05. Okay, nice. Now we have our teal color from the outside and it is looking good. Let's add some orange color from our lamp. So let's open up the BP lamp. In here we already have our point light. Let's increase the value 500 maybe. Let's disable the temperature and add our tint. Let's increase it to 5000 for now. Let's add one more light component called spotlight. Let's give same tint. And let's increase the source radius. This will help us in giving soft shadows, right? And also, as our light is inside this cube in this lamp, so if earlier it was not giving out the values properly, right? If we select this point light and also increase the source radius to 30, okay, now it is lighting up too much, so let's decrease the intensity. Always remember the lighting is like back and forth between values and everything, so don't be shy to experiment. Let's give 20 or maybe 30. Okay, this is looking good. In the attenuation radius, in the point light, let's increase the attenuation radius to default 1000. Let's see if we disable the cast shadow, does it make any difference? Let's disable it because we are casting shadows from our spotlight. Now you see our light intensity and all is perfect, and but we still have darkness in our shadow area. So if we keep increasing the intensity of our lights, the scene might get overexposed in the highlighted area. So instead we should go into our post process, and in the local exposure check this shadow contrast and highlight contrast and decrease the shadow contrast value until it looks proper. Okay, 0.6 is looking good. Now our scene is brighten up a little. We can increase the highlight contrast as well. And in the details strength, let's give it 1.1. It will add little bit of contrast, right? So this is looking good. Let's save it. Okay, this is looking good. Now we need to add some lights maybe below this wooden area, right? So and in the teal, so we have some variation inside our scene. So let's do that. Let's say add area light in here. So quick way to position the light is maybe copy the translation value from here and paste it in here. Bring it down. Right. Let's adjust the source width and height values. Okay, this is looking good. Let's give it a tint. And let's decrease the value. Now we'll duplicate this light into these two areas. Okay, those two lights are pasted in here. Let's create some emissive material first so that we can apply it to these lamps and these signs and all. So for that, let's go into material and create a master material. Change this from default lit to unlit. So this is our typical emissive master material, but there is one problem with this. I will show you. If we create a material instance and apply this material instance in our lamp, let's change the value and tint as well. Let's increase the intensity. So you see right now this intensity looks okay with current exposure value, which is 1, but if we decrease it to like 0.5, 0.2 or something, the glow effect on the emissive material gets reduced as well. So to avoid this, here is a pro tip. Add a divide node after the contrast, or after any of add this divide node at the last of your this node tree, and add eye adaptation and plug this into the emissive color. Now let's apply and save. And now if you decrease the exposure value, the glow effect stays the same and you don't have to go back and forth and adjust intensity and the exposure values, right? So this one is a really nice method. Let's duplicate it and apply this glow material into our sign. Change the tint. For this, maybe we can increase the intensity and contrast as well. By increasing the contrast, you will get more glow around your subject. So if you do like 5 or something, it keeps on increasing. So 2 is better for now. Let's save and close. Let's apply same material to these bulbs. Let's add point lights in here. Again, quick way to place the point light is copy the translation value from here and paste it in here and move it out a little. Let's increase the source radius like this, and let's adjust the tint and intensity. And also one more thing, make sure that all the lights are movable and the mega lights option is turned on in all the lights. So let's quickly check that as well. Okay, let's duplicate these lights in all the 4 parts. Okay, this looks better. Let's adjust the attenuation radius, because right now the attenuation radius is too high, maybe 600. Okay, and maybe let's increase the indirect intensity in here. And before we add more components in here, let's organize our components. Okay, much better. Now let's add spotlights in here so that we have highlighted area in here with our orange tint. Something like this. Let's duplicate it. Maybe we can duplicate it with increment of 10 so that we have correct separation like this. And let's duplicate these lights in here as well. Okay, I duplicated the light and add them in the folder as well. So now I think our first phase of lighting is done. We can add a light fixtures in here, right? So to give uh, more realism. Also, we might need to add a teal tube light or something so that we have some separation. And I feel like the room has maybe our white balance is little off, but we can adjust it in our post production third series section where we color correction and color grade in DaVinci Resolve. The scene also has very nice soft shadows and everything, but it has missing ambient occlusion effects. So here is a pro tip to add ambient occlusion effects. We need to add these two console commands in here. I will add these two command lines down in the description. We need to add it in here and hit enter. After this, we need to go into post process volume and search for ambient. Click this to setting, and to see the ambient occlusion effect, go into the lit mode. In the buffer visualization, click on ambient occlusion. Right. So let's decrease the radius to maybe 100. It is getting tighter, maybe 50. Right. So we have only ambient occlusion on these corner areas. Let's decrease the intensity or maybe increase it. So right now it has too much, maybe 0.3 is better. Right. So you see we have nice ambient occlusion effects in here. Let's go into the lit mode. Let's exaggerate to see the effect. 0.5, 0, 0.3. Okay, 0.3 is better as we don't want to overdo it. So with this ambient occlusion effect, we can have very nice contact shadows, and it will help in creating more contrast and depth into our scene. So it's a very nice method. While we are in the post-process volume, let's adjust some of the translucency settings and reflection settings. So in the lumen reflection, click on this high quality translucency reflections. This will improve the reflection quite a bit. You can see it in here. We have some artifacts earlier. Then in the translucency tab, click on type and change it from raster to ray tracing so that we have accurate translucency effects. And don't worry about this flickering. It will be taken care of in the rendering section. In the ray tracing translucency, click on this and increase the max reflection rays to maybe 10 or 20. You can see the difference in here. More rays means more accurate calculation for the lumen. One thing you might notice is that our glass and all translucent material objects are not casting shadows right now. If we add a point light in here to exaggerate the effect, you can see it is not casting shadows right now. This is a common problem in previous version of Unreal as well. I have created 5.4 project and have a simple cube in here, and I will apply a glass material from our starter content. Let's apply it, and you see the glass is not the object is not casting shadows. Same way in our 5.5 project, if we create a blank new level and apply it, you see it is not casting shadows even if we have a directional light. So one pro tip to enable the shadow of these translucent objects is open up the material instance, and in the general section and in the material property overrides, expand this, and in the cast dynamic shadow as masked, turn this on. It will cast shadows, but we have right now the directional light. In the Unreal 5.5 we have mega lights feature, but there is one problem. If we add a spotlight and move it up a little, it is not casting shadows. While in the 5.4 project, if we do the same setting, delete the directional light and add a spotlight, in 5.4 the spotlight is casting shadows, but in 5.5 with the same setting the spotlight is not casting shadows. So in 5.5 we need to enable one more setting. In the spotlight or any of the light in our scene, we need to type mega in the details panel. We can either disable the allow mega lights feature, right, then our object will cast shadows, or we can leave it enable, and in the mega lights shadow method change this from default to virtual shadow map. When you do this, it will enable the shadows. Let's apply the same logic in our cafe level. Let's select our glass material, open up the material instance, and in the general section in the material property override, let's enable this. Let's add a spotlight. You see right now it is not casting shadows, so let's type mega. Either change this or we can change this to virtual shadow map, right? So right now our translucent object is also casting shadows. Also, if you look at this type of close-up and let's switch it to default, you see our shadow has some weird artifacts, like it is cutting out or something. If we turn it off, then it is okay, but right now it's not. Let's change it to virtual shadow map and it is fixed. So let's delete this and let's apply this same logic to all our lights. Let's select our lights and change this to virtual shadow map. Also, if we keep adding lights and change this to virtual shadow map, it will decrease our performance. So I would advise only change this setting to the lights which are closer to our maybe camera angles or to the translucent objects. No need to switch every light into this virtual shadow map. That's it for this video. I hope you found it helpful. In the next one, we'll dive deeper into further steps to elevate the scene. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be packed with valuable insights. If you enjoyed this video, please do me a quick favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon so you don't miss out when the future video comes. Also, if you have any question, feedback or suggestion, please share them in the comment and I'll address them in the upcoming videos. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.